Right, thought it's time I did an update of my progress, and I'm currently in Tabor at the Walmart parking lot, and there's a sign right in front of me. I spent the night here last night, and I love this sign. No, overnight parking prohibited. Oops, sorry. I don't know what it is, but all the trucks park here, and there's a massive pile of waste ground over there. It's like no man's land, so you can't pull on there. There's only some spots you can park on. The rest of it you can't get on there, else you'll get stuck. There's two other of our trucks over there. That's one, and that's one as well. They're company trucks, not owner drivers. But I'm in Tabor. It's 7:30 local time, 8:30 my time. Well, just gone 8:30. I've just got up, I've made all my bed, and I've got my tea making apparatus already set up. I'm going to go over to Tim Hortons, get some donuts, and see what other amazing food they might have. A bacon sandwich I could have, or an English breakfast. I doubt that. So I'm going to go over there, get some food, come back, get the kettle on, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a talk about what happened over the last fortnight or 2 weeks. So back in 10 minutes. Right, I'm back. I've got me bacon sandwich. I wish. Now, what have I got? I've got a hash brown, and I've got a sausage and egg muffin without the sausage because it's shit. Let's get the kettle on. Oh shit. So this is my second run now. I'm just starting my second run, and it's the same again. Loading Tabor, going down to Laredo, Texas. And what happened? Like, I didn't do any filming last week because what happened was the fuel pump decided to totally give out on me, and I pulled in I loaded at this place I'm loading at, French Fries. I had to drive into Lethbridge, scale out the load, and it didn't feel like it was running too great. It was alright, but I thought it was a bit sluggish, and it was making a lot of black smoke. And I went into Lethbridge, scaled it out, then I drove from there down to a place called Milk River, which is just outside the US border. I pulled in there to get a fax, and when I pulled up, the engine was idling at about 1000 RPM, which made it difficult to get in gear. And so I left it idling, went into the shop, got the fax, come out, it was still doing it, and managed to get it in gear. Pulled away, and as I come up to a T-junction, went to grab second gear, and because I was going too slow, I couldn't get it in gear and ended up stopping across the middle of the junction. So I realised something was wrong, and I thought, well, you know, keep going, get down to the border, because I'm loaded now, so there's not a lot I can do about it. So I got down to the US border, I pulled up to the window, and I switched the engine off, but I just left it in gear because I didn't want any hassle right outside the window of the customs bloke. So cleared customs, set off, and then once you come out of the port, which is called Sweetgrass, you come out the port, there's a massive hill climb, and it went up there, it flew up there, and I thought, well, it must just been a bit of shit come through and got, it must still be clearing itself through. And then after that, I just fled all the way down to Great Falls. I was running it at 2100 RPM. I was doing about 68, 70 mile an hour. So it didn't matter that the revs was idling high, because I was running it with the revs even higher anyway. So I gets down to Great Falls where I needed to fuel, and I comes off the slip road, gets to the top, it's a stop sign, so you've got to stop. Pulls up there, straight away the revs went straight up to 1500 RPM. And I couldn't get it in gear, so I had to switch the engine off at the stop sign, put it in first, start the engine, and then just clutch it out. And the truck stops right there, so you know I didn't have to drive far. Pulls on the fuel pumps, and it's absolutely revving its bollocks off. And you know, I was out of hours. Well, I was almost out of hours by then anyway, and I thought, well, like, don't drive any further, park up for the night, and then hopefully it might fix itself overnight. You know, fingers crossed. And if not, at least I've got facilities there. You know, I'll get up at like 5 AM and try and fix it. So did all that, got up at 5 AM, went to start it. Hang on a minute. Went to start it, and turns the key, boom, straight up to 1500 from cold. So I knew it. I realised it hadn't fixed itself, and so I had to make some phone calls. And the company I'm pulling for was, well, the company was all right, but the dispatcher has been a right knobhead, to be honest. They wanted me to take it to a workshop, and I'm like, well, first of all, I can't really drive it anywhere like this, and secondly, what's a workshop going to do that I can't do? You know, all they're going to do is moan that it's an old truck. They won't want to work on it, they'll want to charge a fortune. So I knew what it was, bound to be the fuel pump, and I tried loads of different things throughout that day. You know, I started from the fuel tank. I had the fuel take up stack out. I took all the lines off, I blew the lines out with air. Obviously changed the fuel filter, and then in desperation I got a small hammer and I just tapped the side of the fuel pump. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. If you let it run on 1500 RPM, as the engine temperature increased, the RPMs went up, and in the end, once it was up to temperature like 190 degrees, the RPMs were sitting on 2000 RPM, revving its bollocks off. So in desperation, I got a hammer and I just tapped the side of the fuel pump. Guess what? Revs come down, but then it wouldn't rev up. It wouldn't rev up properly then. Like, it was very slow, and so I backed it out the space I was in and tried to circle the truck parking lot, and it literally didn't have the guts to move, and I ended up having to sort of just park it along the perimeter side. And I thought, well, yeah, I definitely need a new fuel pump. So I contacted a company called Premco and explained all the symptoms, and he said it sounds like the fuel pump. And I gave him my CPL number, and his name's Warren, he built a fuel pump for me, and they shipped it UPS overnight straight to the truck stop. And next day, this was the Thursday, I tilted the cab, fitted the new fuel pump on, I had it fitted, and all the tools packed away within an hour. And all in all, from the moment that Warren started building the pump for me to the moment I got the truck running again was about 22 hours. So, and from then, I haven't changed the fuel button or anything like that. It's just stock 400. So from there, I then drove down to Laredo, tipped the load, ran empty over to Baytown, Houston, and then picked a load up from there, took that all the way up to Edmonton. And then this weekend, last 3 days, I've sat at a truck stop in Calgary, having a reset, because yesterday was a bank holiday Monday in Canada, so couldn't do anything yesterday. So then yesterday evening, I ran down here to Tabor and parked here overnight, and 9:30 I've got to go back up to company's called Amlog, load up French fries and go back to Laredo. So, but the aircon, I didn't have the aircon on because I was a bit worried about it. I'm not sure if there's not enough oil in it or what, but it started making a bit of a squeaking noise, so I figured it was best to run without it off. And it was well hot, I tell you. I had to have both windows down. I was driving in shorts, no shirt on. I was absolutely sweating like a pissing paedophile in the playground. And so hopefully, you know, this weekend I've put some oil in it, like, so hopefully it's work. I had it running last night from Calgary down to here, and it was running great. Like, it was lovely and cool, and there was no funny noises coming from it, so hopefully I'll fix that and I won't be sweating my tits off now on the way to Texas. Oh, and one other thing, the fucking door handle fell off as well on the driver's door, and I've had to get a socket and clamp it in a pair of mole grips or vice grips, and like the square, it's like quarter-inch square, quarter-inch drive, and the door handle slips over like a square dowel, which is almost the same size as the quarter-inch drive on the socket. So I put the socket on, clamped in the vice grips, turn it, and then I can open the door. But it's alright, because it means I don't have to lock the door at night, because no one's going to know how to fucking break in if there's no door handle on it. But I did sleep with the windows down, so, but whatever. So I've got some footage of the fuel pump, like when the fuel pump was knackered and the engine was revving its tits off. I took a bit of footage of that, so I'll put that on this video now, and then I'm going to try my best to set the camera up so I can film while I'm driving and do some filming on the way to Texas as well. So, but now I'm going to have my cup of tea and my sausage muffin before it goes cold, and speak to you later. Ta-ra! Oh, here we go, back up in the cab. It's all put down. Let's try it now. Revs. No. What the fuck? Something's fucking wrong there. Something seriously fucking wrong. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, it's slowly getting fucking higher and higher. From cold, it's just slowly fucking working its way up. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with it. Fucking great. Getting worse now. It's fucking going straight up to 2000 RPM. Now it's got up to temperature. It started at 15, it's worked its way up to 2000. Right, I'll get it a couple of taps with an hammer. No, I don't whale it, I just, you know, get it a couple of taps in where I could. And it's brought the revs down. I mean, I was sitting on 2000, it's come down to 1200. But if I rev it now, I get no pressure again, and it revs up very slowly. So definitely a fuel pump issue. Right, so I got the new fuel pump on, just checked all the fittings, and I noticed that I just went to make sure that the throttle was turned back before I fitted all the throttle linkage back on. It's quite stiff to turn, and was all the way back, but it's so stiff to turn, and it's no end play in that whatsoever. If we go and look at the old pump, it's alright, the reefer's probably going to kick on soon, so I better do this quick video. Yeah, it's at -1, should be at -10, so it's going to come on any minute now. This one, so easy to turn, and there's at least a 1/16 of an inch of end play. So, who knows? Oh, here he goes. Come on. Well, at least it's not revving its tits off anymore. Just give it time to work the fuel through and find an even keel. Well, it's running, so happy days. Gonna pack all my tools away, let it idle for a few minutes, let it warm up, and then I'll switch the engine off, put the cab down, then fire it back up again, tools away, go and get some fuel in the reefer and fill out a logbook, and let's get cracking.
got the cab down. I mean, obviously I haven't put anything away yet. Every time I tilt the cab I have to take everything that's loose off the bed, place it up close to the windscreen, because obviously I don't want nothing come tumbling through the glass. But just to prove it's working, we'll give it another whirl. Here we go. Yep, good oil pressure. Sitting nicely, well, 700 RPM. Oil temp, obviously that's nothing because I've only just started it. Air pressure's up already, and I'll just give it a. Oh yeah, also what I did when I set the linkage back, when I put the linkage back on the fuel pump, I repositioned the linkage so that the throttle, so the pedal in the cab would be, there wouldn't be any slop in the pedal. It'd be there straight away. Look, whereas before there was quite a bit of slack in the pedal before it'd actually do anything. So let's just see what the fuel pressure does. And the RPM. Yes, lovely. Sounds beautiful. Hang on. So we're getting about 40 psi there from just a throttle snap test. Do it once more. Yeah, just under just a touch under 40 psi. Any boost? No, don't see no boost. But I'll tell you what, that feels sweet, and when it comes down, it levels straight out 700. Whereas before, I was revving it before, it was coming down to about 450. It sounded like it was going to conk out, and then it'd come and level back up at about 600. Right, get my tools away and get cracking.